It's football under the F words. I'm your host, Zach Lyons, and we kind of got a little new look. It's kind of like between two plants.
Between two ferns.
Well, it's not. We don't have ferns, so we're between two plants.
And a scholarly desk lamp.
Yeah, this little desk lamp over here.
I want one of those. I've always wanted one of those for my office because I feel like that is a status symbol. Like if you've got one of those on your desk, you are a true scholar.
Doesn't turn on.
Is it a prop light?
No, I mean, there's a light bulb in here, but it doesn't turn on. You can quit yanking it. It ain't doing anything.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
All right. Busting diamonds in the chase, Estonia. Hope you're feeling better. Would you like to give everybody a health update?
Yeah. So I've been down for the count for the last 2 weeks, a few days aside. I went to the ER, spent the morning in the hospital. They told me I had a hernia, a UTI, and gastritis.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me some antibiotics for the UTI, told me to get some rest. I was bedridden for 3 days in a tremendous amount of pain. And there's a symptom I'm excluding from this so far because it's quite the rug pull. But so I go through this antibiotic cycle for 6 days. And then I go to a follow-up with my physician. And that's when I say, my testicle, my left nut is the size of a grapefruit. And it hurts. And my doctor tells me, yeah, dude, like a hernia and a UTI is not going to cause your testicle to swell to that level. So I'm like, all right, well, she's like, we're going to get you in with the urologist. I'm like, okay, cool. Go home. The next day, the only way I know how to describe it is like I feel like a bomb going off in my midsection. And then I start getting fevers. I start getting chills. I'm alternating between spells, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Hey, Joseph, what's going on?
Are your balls okay?
My balls are okay. Yeah, we're getting there.
What are we down to, an apple?
We're down to, you know what? It was a racquetball yesterday.
Oh, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and we're trending smaller. We're almost normal. Fingers crossed. A few more days of antibiotics, but
Jackson had the same thing. I bet you caught it from him.
I bet I did. Yeah,
except for he had to get his removed.
I knew we shouldn't have rubbed balls in the bathroom.
You shouldn't have. You and Jackson. Just for those who may not have heard what was actually being said off air.
Yeah,
just in case.
But it hurt, and they tell me like if you start getting a fever, come back because that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
And so I did, and then I went back to the hospital, and they're like, man, like it is technically the testicle and the sperm cord that is infected. So
Wait. The fever was a bad sign, not the nut that was as large as a grapefruit.
I guess I wasn't as communicative with my doctors as I needed to be.
Well, let me say something. I can talk about this firsthand because I have taken you. Really, I've had to take you against your will to a fast clinic. In Mobile at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. I didn't want to miss the games.
And I'm texting your wife, telling her how much of a pain in the ass it was just to get you to go because you kept making all these excuses and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, it's terrible. This is what I go through every day of my life when he's sick. And she goes, you should probably go in with him because he's not going to be very honest.
I answer their questions and then I just go on about my business. But this was a case like when you wake up and you're soaking wet with sweat, you feel like your bones are on fire, and your nut is the size of a grapefruit. I'm not playing around. I'm like, we gotta get out of here, buddy, because this is bad news. But yeah, I was apparently on. It was a pretty serious infection. I'm glad I went when I did because it was like borderline sepsis situation, which would not have been good. And they were watching for abscesses because if an abscess had developed, there wouldn't have been any question. They would have had to snip that thing right on out of there. But it never,
like Jackson.
Yeah, it never developed to that point. They got me on some antibiotics and some really, really strong pain pills. And I was in the hospital for 3 days, and they were watching it to make sure. They told me like your white blood cell count gets up when you're fighting an infection. They said like a normal level is 10. When I went to the hospital, I was at a 19. So they were kind of, you never feel good when like the doctors around you are looking at you and they're very concerned. So I just kind of,
Especially if
toughed it
your
out.
legs up in the air and your nuts are
Oh,
hanging out.
dude. I mean, it was like 18 people came in just like poking, touching my balls. Yep, that's swollen. Yep, that's bad. And I'm just, it's all pain. Like, and I don't know, like if you ever have any serious trauma down there, it affects everything in the region. So like shrinkage in a pool, how it like sucks things up. I had to like practically just open my mouth to pee out my mouth. It was sucked up so high in me.
Like
was
a
bad.
fucking water fountain.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was probably
Just
the worst pain.
vomiting urine.
I'm trying to think of like the worst pain I've been in. I've broken bones. I've been really sick with other like bronchitis before. I think bronchitis is going to kill me one day because of my lungs. But I can't remember ever feeling like I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed. I had no strength. If I rolled over the wrong way, it just felt like I was getting stabbed in my midsection all the time. Couldn't roll over because you're just lugging this grapefruit hanging off the front of your body, and it is really painful. But had great care. I was on some really good pain meds that gave me some really wild dreams that gave me ideas for short stories that I've been working on. And I'm trying to get back on my 2 feet. They gave me 21 days worth of antibiotics. 21 days. And they're like, you can't drink, you can't do anything fun. So
Would you like to hear what the chat has to say?
sure, I would love
Okay.
to.
Man, I'm glad you're back, Stoney. That's from Coach Wills,
Thank you, Coach Wills.
who also says, "Man, everyone's staring at you when you're soft. That's tough."
It's
That's
not
tough.
just soft, Coach Wills. It's soft and like shriveled up and sucked up inside your body. It looks like a jar of fermented fish.
Big Meat Pete believers rise up. Speaking of meat,
Yeah.
are Stoney's balls ready for this 13-4 Titans season?
You bet. You bet. By the time they hit 13, oh, never mind. I don't want to go that far on the podcast. I'll be able to have activities again when they're 13, 14.
There you go.
I'll have cleared protocol,
You-
testicular protocol.
Testicular protocol. Okay. Well, let's talk about that Tennessee Titans game.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. They won a game.
They won a game, and you went back and watched more of the film than I did, but I watched
Yeah.
some of the film.
Yeah, I watched every snap.
Because on Monday, I got pretty heated. Started off the show as just me.
Did you?
Blaine was off. I got pretty heated because I felt like local media, the fanalists, and some fans were like, well, the Cardinals just gave it to you. You didn't
Yeah.
do anything to earn the win.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is the same stuff y'all would complain about when Vrabel got a win against like the Bills and when he shouldn't have. And the national media would tell you, well, really the Bills lost the game because of this, and this.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, no, we won the game. Give us our credit. And now you finally win a game for like, was it like 10 or 9 game losing streak? And you finally win a game on the road against a good, young, competitive team.
Team that's more talented than you are.
Is definitely more talented than you. And you didn't want to just at least enjoy it. You don't even have to say it's a good win, but you couldn't
Yeah.
just enjoy it.
Also, man, it says something about the psyche of this team that they didn't just roll over.
Yeah.
There is still that part of the equation where just because the Cardinals shit the bed, okay, well, the Titans also still have to capitalize on it.
Right.
And in tight quarters, under 2 minutes, they did that. And I think there's something to be said for that.
Well, they drove 80 yards down the field for a scoring drive.
Yeah.
Their defense played pretty much almost as perfect as you can against an NFL offense.
Yeah.
Yes, Amari DiMercato would have changed the stat, but they didn't allow a point for 40 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, they're just really like,
So they made adjustments somewhere. Obviously, L'Jarius Sneed moving over to Marvin Harrison Jr. instead of Jalen Armour Davis.
yeah.
But, again, just want to say, holding an NFL team after first off, they're up 21-6 because you could just fucking gave up.
Yeah.
But they scored 21 points and you held them for 40. What did I say? Yeah. 30.
It was 40 minutes.
It was 40 minutes?
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
No
I thought,
points.
I thought they defended the run as a team well. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about like gap math.
The Dean
guys-
Mercado was the only big
it
run
was
of
the
that
only
second
one.
half.
Yeah. Cedric Gray is playing his ass off right now.
Yep.
Guys are getting in their gaps. I was telling you before we started, I'm not too familiar with the Lou Anarumo's bare front, but it looked like they were doing more like 5 down linemen in this game, or they had people lined up in the guard tackle gaps. You had a nose, and then you had 2 guys out wide.
You're right.
And then you just had Cody Barton and Cedric Gray kind of flowing, reading because Arizona was running a lot of gap stuff, kind of moving, changing the gap math around a little bit. And so you had your linebackers kind of flowing, reacting to that. They had every hole plugged up.
My thing is that like there's 2 different ways you could, I guess, look at it this way. There's a difference between enjoying a win in the moment and
Yeah.
praising the good things that happen in that game while also realizing that, hey, this team still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
Yeah.
be honest. This team really could just go 2-15, 1-16, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's within the realm of possibility. But when you're talking about an abysmal way of viewing this team, like it is a chore to watch this team play football sometimes. To have the fourth quarter that they did as a whole entire team,
Yeah.
take that, cherish it, nurture it. Like put it up close to you. It's like a dead baby bird that only has like 3 heartbeats going.
Yeah.
And you have to warm it up and put it up next to your bare chest to make sure that it, gets the warmth that it needs.
Been there before.
It may still die in your arms and in your hands because
Mhm.
maybe you crushed it a little too much.
Yeah.
And you just feel its bones break and blood splattering everywhere. Or maybe that bird can fly.
Yeah. You don't know.
You just never
don't know. I just think, thinking about us sitting in this studio watching that game for 3 quarters,
It was
It's
it was
just-
terrible.
imagining what Titans talkback was going to be like that night and just thinking, God, how are we going to do this again?
Yeah.
How are we going to do this again? And then the feeling of euphoria when they actually came back and won kind of reminds me of something I haven't felt in a while, and it's the joy of being a fan. Like,
Yeah.
it is that sort of communal experience of triumphing over your opponent. And I don't know how many opportunities that we as Titans fans are going to get to have that this year. The hope, the optimistic view is that this was the breakthrough that we've been waiting for. I still think there's plenty of reason for concern. You hope that this is not a case where the bottom falls out again next week and we're back to square one. But when you don't know how many of these moments you're going to get, by all means, take your time in between games to relish it.
I think that's a good point that you just brought up is like it's nice to be reminded that you can be a fan again to enjoy the
Yeah.
win, because I do think with Twitter, and social media, but specifically Twitter, so many people pass themselves off as experts, they forget that they are also a fan.
Everybody's posting film clips.
Yeah, film clips, they're
Podcasts.
interpreting data, doing data, they're tweeting data and all this stuff. It's kind of like I think that's where we've kind of always kind of lived in that murky world of we're objective, but we're also still fans.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the fan in me just wants to enjoy the win.
Yeah.
And the other guy, part of me, the professional, the hater, I guess you could say, the nerd, knows this team still fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, it's okay to be able to enjoy a win and know that, yeah, it took some lucky breaks to go your way. But how many times have those lucky breaks ever gone the Titans' way? And when they do, how many times do they actually capitalize on it? 'Cause
Yeah.
more often than not, they're the other team. They
Yeah.
are the Cardinals in this situation normally.
Yeah.
They're the guys that have Will Levis, throwing, bowling balls for interceptions and all this kind of stuff. Like, they're the Cardinals usually in
Yeah.
this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they were up on the Bears, lost a game to the Bears in horrific fashion. And
Yeah.
the difference is between that game and this game is that your quarterback actually looked good.
Yeah.
Where in the Caleb Williams games, he never fucking looked good at all in that game.
And I'll tell you, I've been thinking about the differences in the first win this season versus the first win last season.
The Miami game.
And I thought, watching that game, the way that they won it, I thought, I don't care that they won. This team is cooked. This team is going nowhere because you played a brand of football. You're running the ball. It's sloppy. That's not what we think Brian Callahan wants this offense to be. You were going up against like a fifth-string quarterback that had just gotten there off the streets. Like, it wasn't really a convincing win. It felt like there was still a ton of problems. This, I think people get caught up in the Cardinals' mistakes, and I'm not saying that the Titans were playing well, but I think from a coaching standpoint, I think it was a pretty complete performance on both sides of the ball. And we can get into why with like more 12 personnel, jumbo packages, running the ball, calling stuff over the middle. Like, it felt more like the 2024 Titans offense than it did what we saw throughout the 0-4 start. But I think there was some good stuff in there that made me think like this comeback was executed well from the coaching staff down to the players. It was a complete team effort to kind of get back in that game and then take advantage of that moment when the momentum shifted the other way. And that's the difference between the two, is like the Miami win still kind of felt hopeless. This feels like, okay, well, if they can do that more consistently, maybe we got some hope.
Well, it's because you also, while you had, 3 weeks of like terrible turnovers from Will Levis, you were like, okay, Will Levis is in the game, but he's eventually coming back.
Mm-hmm.
With Cam Ward, you haven't had really terrible turnovers.
No.
At least you haven't had teams capitalized on some potential turnovers.
Fair.
And here you saw him put out a game that, to me, it didn't result in a passing touchdown, but I would put it up there with the whole game performance of like the Atlanta Falcons game for Will Levis, or the Marcus game, his debut.
Yeah.
In the sense of the impact that game had on the team. And I look at it and I go, I know it wasn't a lot of touchdowns, but I saw some really excellent quarterbacking.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it won't show up in the box score, but just the real like command of the game, just saying like, we will not go quietly into the night kind of deal. Like, it was awesome.
Right. I got a couple of people saying that I'll never turn babyface. I'm on a heel run. I think you guys got to kind of view me that I'm like CM Punk.
Okay.
I just spit truth.
Okay.
You may not like the truth, but for the most part, I'm right. I'm like a CM Punk kind of babyface.
You got a pretty good track record.
Yeah. I would think that like I'm like very. I just not everybody wants to hear the truth, right? Sometimes I'll get booed.
Yeah.
But I'm really more CM Punk.
Okay.
Maybe like funny edging Christian, when they would do the 5-second poses.
Yeah.
They were heels, but they weren't really heels.
No,
they were really the best part of the show.
Everybody was laughing. I loved Attitude Era Edge and Christian.
I mean, okay, 193 yards passing the fourth quarter. Such a nice stat to see from Bustin' Diamond. That's what I'm talking about. Like 193 yards in one quarter and listen, let's be honest. The first 3 quarters had us in this room talking about like, oh man, this is not getting better.
Yeah.
It's not getting good.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding onto the ball too long. Like, I kind of look at the that very first play where he decides to scramble. The very first pass play, he decides to scramble, and I'm like, just throw it. And you're like, I got to look at the all 22, and then you go look at the all 22, and it makes it actually worse than the broadcasting.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
That's one thing that like made it amplified his poor performance to start the game, is that you go back and watch some of the all 22, and you're like, there's dudes open. Dude's open here. You don't know the progressions, the reads, and all that.
But he's like looking at him.
Yeah, and
I'm
the ball's
speaking
not coming
specifically.
out.
I think it was Chig at that time, and I'm just like,
yeah, I know what play you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and listen, Ed Henry was like, I went from bench him at halftime to OMG, and like, I don't blame people for feeling that way. Because if you're
I don't
watching
either.
these last few games, you're looking at Cam Ward and you're thinking, man, maybe you were better off just trading out that pick. And I'm not that guy to go back and say, and start doubting myself, because I am the guy that says, if you believe you have the guy quarterback, if you think that guy's the dude, you draft him no matter what, and everything else will fall into place. And maybe things are starting to fall in place just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I'm like, man, this was looking bad.
It was looking dire.
I mean, very much.
It should have been 28-6, and who knows what from there.
Right. And listen, maybe he would have still orchestrated the same kind of performance in the fourth quarter and all that kind of stuff. But again, I go back to the reason why I do like Cam Ward the closer I got to the draft was because of what we saw from his demeanor, his attitude, his leadership, that kind of intangible stuff we don't get to see during the process outside of articles, maybe some few documentary videos and stuff like that. Like, we don't get to see that. We got to read a lot about it, but we got to kind of see it in action.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like, don't shit on this win, because this could be the turning point for also your young franchise quarterback. Like, if we're talking about inflection points, this could be the point where everything stayed on for Cam Ward, because he talked about it, right? He talked about how, hey, I personally was not getting the tight ends involved. Now I've seen him be able to do it. Now we're going to do it.
Over the middle of the field, too.
Over the middle of the field, right? Like, it took a while for him to kind of figure out his maybe place inside this offense.
Yeah.
Maybe his place inside the NFL. Let's not diminish this with Arizona lost it. Let's diminish it with Cam Ward took an 80-yard scoring drive in the fourth quarter as a rookie quarterback. He threw for 193 yards as a rookie quarterback in the fourth quarter. Without Cam Ward, you're likely not winning that game, because you know what would likely happen if you had Will Levis out there? He's probably giving the ball back over to Arizona.
The disaster turnover, the backbreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I really like about this, and I still just reiterate how impressed I am with the demeanor of the team to really come back and take that one from the Cardinals. But I love the way the schedule sets up right now, because you have the high of stealing one from a team that you shouldn't have beaten.
Right.
Now you have a matchup where you're just talking about like taking the next step as a program on the trajectory of where this franchise is headed. Now you have the opportunity to overpower a team that you should overpower because of their injuries. I think the Raiders now clearly have the worst roster in football. It's a team that you want to see the statement kind of win, right? Let's control this thing. Let's not let it get off the rails. Let's go out there, pound it, win it, go home. And then you have the opportunity against the New England Patriots team to show a different kind of personality, where you know that's going to be a knife fight down in the mud. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be tough. It's going to be physical. So now go show that you can win those games too. Like there's three very different opponents coming up. And if this is the springboard that we hope that it could be, then you've got an opportunity to really build some confidence over the next 2 weeks too.
Yeah, and that's really what this game is really all about, is about building the confidence from this game. And listen, it wasn't all perfect. We all know that. There were still some things that had to go your way, but you still were able to win the game. Let's talk about now what the Tennessee Titans need to do going forward to help get Cam Ward in a rhythm, because that's something that we've had a lot of discussions about. And it seems like, again, you look at this game, Tony Pollard's running really well. They're going run down the field, and all of a sudden it goes pass, wildcat pass, and then
sputters.
It sputters.
Yeah.
So obviously leaning into the run game, which also helps get your offense. It's not just about getting Cam Ward in a rhythm. When we talk about getting the offense in a rhythm, it's also about getting your offensive line in a rhythm.
Yeah.
The run game helps that. But two things that I think that we need to focus on going forward for this Tennessee Titans offense, really three things, but two things in specifically that they've talked about: RPOs, which they didn't really do much of.
I didn't know. Did they do any on Sunday?
I don't think so. I'm going to go back and check.
Yeah.
But also no huddle. Now, obviously, you
huddle.
can't do no huddle all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to start helping get that into a rhythm early in the game.
Yeah.
Waiting until the second 2-minute warning in the first half to start doing some no huddle in the first half is stupid.
Yeah.
But then you're only doing like 4 to 5% of the time no huddle in the entire quarter or entire first half. We got to bump that up. Like you have to do that. So like at some point they talked about it. They said they're going to incorporate more, but I've heard that story before.
You got to be
So
about
where are you at on that?
it. If you're going to talk about it, be about it. But I think this is a clear I don't know, man. I think it's like one of the most basic things you can do as a coaching staff is just to lean into what works. And there was a whole lot in this game that worked that we haven't seen them lean into before. Adding tight ends, adding offensive linemen, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon reporting as eligible, adding Corey Levin, having him run as a lead blocker. I don't feel like they've used the lead blocker hardly at all.
They had
this
one
season
RPO
either.
last game.
Okay, cool. So this is probably more than the last game, though. So
Yeah.
heading in the right direction. Like add more of those plays because they worked. Like it's right there in front of you. It worked. It got this offense to a rhythm, provided them a spark. Play action's another thing. Like add a little more of that. We saw them. I've been critical of their plan with Cam Ward throughout the 0-4 start because it felt like they only wanted to throw the ball to the sidelines outside the numbers. Well, you got the tight ends involved. Don't let me forget, I got a point on that too. And you're running more crossing stuff underneath, more stuff over the middle of the field. It felt like you kind of let him off the reins a little bit. Like let him go. Just, you know what? Go out there and just call the offense the way you want it to be run. And it felt like he met them there. And so lean into that. Keep doing that sort of thing. It's also my point about the tight ends. Man, it helps that this offensive line is starting to come together. And they're improving a little bit more each and every week. By the time we get to that fourth quarter, they're putting their tackles on islands. Like there's no tight ends, running backs really helping them out all that much. And what that means is like those guys can get into their routes quicker. So the timing of the offense is back on schedule. And they're adding tight ends and they're actually sending them downfield. Like there's one play where Gunnar Helm, David Martin Robinson, and Chimere Dike are all in a different deep third just down the field. And it works. So let's lean into those things and be a little more fluid with it instead of practicing some of the rigidity that you and I have been critical of to start this season.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we knew they had 23 RPO plays up until last week.
Yeah.
And then they talk about RPOs all throughout the week, and then they run one RPO play.
So
are we going to talk about motion or are we going to talk about up tempo all week and then maybe not see no huddle? Like that's where it kills me about this team. You heard your quarterback say, "Man, I really love RPOs. They allow me to see the field and see leverage." Well, let's just run one RPO play this week.
Yeah, I
mean, what the fuck are we doing?
I don't get it, but that's not.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
It's not new either.
Right.
Because we've heard a lot from multiple people on that staff too that get in the press conferences and say, "Yeah, this works. We're working on it. We're going to do it more."
We dabble in it.
And then they just don't do it. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, what is the harm in testing out your RPOs? You're testing out your no huddle within the first two offensive drives to see what the defense is going to give you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Coach Will says they're just fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. The it's unique to this situation is that you have your quarterback kind of telling you he loves RPOs, he loves motion, right? I mean, like, he's telling you that now 2 weeks in a row. He's told you he's loved one, and then the next week he's loved the other.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. That's all there is to it.
That's what I'm saying. It seems
they're making
like,
it so much more difficult than it has to be.
It seems like one of the most basic, easiest principles of coaching. Lean into what works.
Yeah. Players over plays.
Players over plays.
Because we had Jonathan O'Toole ask us on Twitter when I put out, believe, the play action tweet, I believe, today. According to Sumer Sports, Titans run play action at 21.5% clip. That's 19th highest, so not great.
Not great.
Below average. They have the 14th highest play action EPA. So
it works.
Pretty good.
That's a sign.
That's a sign.
Here's your sign.
The Las Vegas Raiders defense ranked 25th against play action. So they're not good against it.
Yeah.
Giving up plus 0.29 EPA on play action plays. So that's a benefit to the Tennessee Titans. Seems like a good Sunday to get the play action game going.
You know why the Raiders are so susceptible to play action?
Because they suck.
Because their fucking linebackers are so slow. If you get them headed in one direction and have to have them cut back and pursue the other way, their knees are going to just break on the field.
Here's something I'll argue with on the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. QC Hawk says, imagine Titans social media bragging about DK leading the NFL in total yards and not utilizing that versatility. They try.
They try. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lack of trying.
I think, and I don't know, maybe this is just the high of the wind still coursing through my veins, but they're going to hit on one of those big chunk plays.
Well, and that's all it takes is like one or two to start getting the confidence going, right? Like, I mean, there's plenty of times where DK's open on field, and whether it's inaccuracy by the quarterback or it's by him not rounding out his route correctly.
Yeah.
At the deep, like, they're just not there yet.
Can we talk about, before I forget,
how bad Elikai Manor played?
Can we talk about the fact that they finally ran some fucking screens behind people that can fucking block?
They did it. Randy Jordan legacy game.
It's like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should have Tony Pollard and Elikai Manor blocking for this screen instead of Calvin Ridley and Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like,
simple stuff like that, right?
It works. It works. You had a couple big games.
Why is that so difficult?
Well, I think in the building.
Do you think they're overthinking it, or there's too many conversations being had?
I don't know.
What do you think, Ross? Weigh in on this. Do you think that they're overthinking it, or do you think that there's so many people giving their opinion they get lost in the sauce?
What are you talking about? I've been watching videos of people falling.
I mean,
talking about the offense?
Yeah, the offense.
I mean, I think with Callahan at the start of the season, there were likely too many voices going on. If you're having trouble like making decisions about things, then that's probably one of the main reasons. But
yeah,
I'll get back to your videos, I guess, Ross.
No, I'll be paying more attention. Don't worry. I'll send it to you.
I just feel like it is. I think it is plays over players. To a certain extent.
That's what they're doing, and then like to me is like, it just I feel like they make football a lot more complicated than it needs to be.
Can't see the forest for the trees,
right? Like, okay, we know that, and whether here's the thing. There's where I also struggle with is like Brian Callahan. I guess many of his lies that he told us when he got hired was that he's really big in analytics. Well, I have to imagine the analytics department doesn't have some unknown, like behind the veil, matrix style code that is different than what we're seeing and what we're getting.
Yeah.
And if they do, then it's probably wrong and they need to shift that. But I wonder how much information they're giving him and how much he's actually listening. And then after a certain time of him not listening, are they still even putting forth the effort to make sure the information is
that would be a good. Are you going to any pressers this week?
No.
That would be
they schedule all the pressers close enough to our
they're scared of you.
They're scared.
They're scared of you.
But like
that'd be a great question to ask him. Like, what is the process when weighing analytics, like what is that process like when who's in your ear saying go for it here,
Yeah.
don't go for it here. Here's the information, you decide. Like,
But they also get this information like in these meetings leading up to it when they're game planning. Okay, shouldn't you be getting information that says, "Hey, you guys are doing pretty well with play action. You guys have the 14th highest DPA.
yeah,
Here's what Las Vegas is doing. We should see more play action." Are they looking at that, letting the nerd leave and then throwing it away? Are they looking
I don't
at
know.
it and saying, okay, we'll revisit this later, and they're not revisiting it? Or they're like, well, our run game's just not that good. This is a good run defense against Las Vegas, which Las Vegas does have a good run defense for whatever weird reason. They rank really well in the efficiency metrics, the Raiders defense.
that's surprising.
But this then goes back to my point of your run game being good or not doesn't really fucking matter for play action, because
Yeah.
not only are they really good against the run, they're really susceptible to play action.
So I would be, I mean, that's such useful information. Like I'd still be going back, like let's go watch some tape, figure out why they're susceptible to play action, and see what we have
But
in
they
our
also
bag.
think the Cardinals' offense is a lot like their offense, so what do they fucking know?
Well, that's
It just makes me wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Like, is your time management well spent?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Like, what is that process like? Who's, because it doesn't, it doesn't sound. It sounds great.
And there's a lot of Nick Holtz hate. I just
that's
feel so bad for him.
I don't.
They got
I
Nick
don't-
Holtz up in the booth shaking a magic 8-ball for their situational football decisions.
Nick Holtz catching strays, man. It sounds great in press conferences, but then we don't see. There's such a stark contrast to what we actually see during the games.
And what the
It's
data
hard-
tells us, too, and what the film tells
Yeah,
us.
it's hard not to feel like it's lip service, and I think at the very least we can question, like, okay, well, what is the process like for acquiring this information? How do you use it in real time to make your decisions? How do you use it to game plan the week of? Or is this just a disorganized mess and we're just going to run what we run because the plays work?
Well, and I think Eldon brings up a good point in the chat just real quick. And
Shout
it's
out,
not
Eldon.
really the point that he's trying to make isn't very good, but
Okay.
the conversation it sparks is pretty good.
Yeah.
One thing Callahan was also known for was trimming the Bengals offense to fit Burrow and then refit it for Browning, yet he can't figure out what Levis Ward does better or who should be in on plays. Well, shouldn't that tell you that maybe he wasn't the guy behind the Browning stuff?
Yeah, you could draw that parallel.
I
You
mean,
could draw that
I
conclusion.
think Brian Callahan got, and I'm not trying to take anything away from his duties as offensive coordinator, just like I'm not trying to take anything away from what Nick Holtz's duties were as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But again, we don't really know how much of that is Brian Callahan or how much of that is Zach Taylor telling Brian Callahan or the quarterbacks telling
Yeah.
Brian Callahan or the new. And if we were to look at his actions this right now, we would know that, hey, he probably wasn't the guy that actually did everything.
I think when you talk about all this stuff and it sounds all well and good in the press conferences,
Yes.
but then when you go out on the field on Sundays and it doesn't line up with what you're talking about, I think at the very least you open yourself up to questions. And I think it's reasonable for people to look at it and say, well, what the fuck, man? This data.
Damn, we're breaking up again, apparently.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It was brief.
It was a
But,
brief
yeah.
breakup,
Who's breaking up?
this stream.
Oh,
VMix has been giving us issues all day.
Yeah.
don't tell me. Don't tell
Fucking
me.
stupid system. Sorry.
But my point is that, okay, we know that Zach Taylor may have said something like, oh, you know, Jake Browning and all this stuff. Well, we have the reason we haven't seen it here is because maybe he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the
And that's-
logical conclusion to draw.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the
Look at
track
what's going
record-
on right now in front of your face. That's reality.
And that's what I'm saying. Like the track record exposes you to the questions
yeah.
that we're asking here.
Yeah. And,
Which
and they're right questions, right? Like,
yeah, I
even-
think it's fair. I think it's part of the evaluation process.
And I think that's a good conversation to bring up by Eldon, but what I'm saying is that we can't just say, well, Zach Taylor said it, so it had to have been true.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, have we ever seen him do that here? We
Zach
haven't.
Taylor?
No, Brian
Okay.
Callahan.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're always going to pump up their former coaches, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they don't, and all. And that's just how the NFL works. What you see is what you get. Like what you see with Brian Callahan is likely a guy that didn't do all the stuff and didn't get really, like, he wasn't the guy coming up with all the stuff. He was the guy that maybe did what he was told, worked within the framework. So there you go. Because have we seen Zach Taylor do it since he left? Well, I mean, they were a better offense last year without Brian Callahan. So,
Yeah, but
I mean,
oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. I had such a smart ass thing to say.
I mean,
there,
and
I
yes,
forgot
Jake
it.
Browning looks worse, but also it's Jake Browning. You
They
get
got-
what I'm saying? Like you capture lightning in a bottle sometime for a little bit.
Yep.
And you had back then Joe Mixon and Chase Brown as well. A better offensive line than, and that's not saying much, by the way, but also a better offensive line,
Better defense.
a better defense. There's other things that play an effect there, but also it's like the Ryan Fitzpatrick effect. Ryan Fitzpatrick's good for 5 games.
Yeah.
And then he's shitty for 5 other games. I think you just realizing the extent of what Jake Browning can and can't do.
Yeah. Who did they just trade for?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. That's right. Yeah. So, man, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and if you look at all the offensive metrics right now for teams, the Bengals and the Titans are pretty much right next to each other.
It's
do you
eerie.
really want that offense, regardless of whether or not that?
It's eerie, man. It's eerie to look at that and think like those two are just way down
Yeah.
below everybody else on their own plane.
I will say this. Oh shit! I forgot.
Yeah.
It
It
sucks.
sucks.
Um,
I can't bail you out because my brain's barely
I know.
functioning.
I know.
I'm off the pain meds. I've been off the pain meds for a day now.
Can I ask you both a defensive question?
you sure can.
Can we, do we need to get Daryl Baker back out there? Seriously, because Jalen Armour Davis was rough against Arizona.
Well, he was rough against Marvin Harrison Jr., which is again a weird coaching decision. What did you think of Jalen Armour Davis when she was off
I thought he played some pretty
of
good
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
some pretty good, decent football afterwards. Some really good open field tackles. Played off, kept everything underneath him. Pretty reliable guy. To me, it was like when the twitch got to him. Like if somebody put a move on him, he was just in a blender. Like couldn't react to it. But once they kind of bailed him out of that situation, I felt like he was pretty good at keeping things in front of him. And I mean, where they're at right now, it's you trade away your second best corner. It's kind of the best you got, it feels like.
I think that Jalen Armour Davis isn't the guy that they think he is. I think they think he's a guy that can, if he's called to be upon the wide receiver one, that, hey, he can handle that. I don't
Yeah.
think he's that guy. I think he's
I don't
a
think so
clear, like you have to shadow with L'Jarius Sneed. Now, with Daryl Baker Jr., to Ross's point, I think Daryl Baker Jr. is a guy that you could put in limited action
I do too.
on the number one
What
wide
is-
receiver.
What is he? Is he hurt right now, Baker?
No.
They're just playing Armour Davis over.
Yeah,
him?
well, Mike Bergonzi didn't sign him.
That's
I think he
I
was
mean-
on special teams last Sunday.
that sucks, man. I like Daryl Baker, and I would definitely be playing him over Jalen Armour Davis. But it does feel like a situation where it's like, fuck it, this season don't matter. Let's see what we got in this guy. Let's just run him out there, and that. I want to fight for Daryl Baker Jr. now. He deserves to be on that field.
I think he deserves to be the starter. He proved it last year
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
15 games, I think is what he started once L'Jarius Sneed went down. It's very ridiculous to me that
Well, Denard's probably thinking, I can't play this guy because if I play him, they'll trade him.
maybe. Like, I mean, Jalen Armour-Davis is fine. He has all the athletic upside. He has the size, but it's pretty clear, to Ross's point, like, I don't think Darrell Baker Jr. is getting mossed.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, if you're an opposing offensive coordinator and you're watching this Titans defense right now, you're thinking, let's get one-on-one with that guy. Let's get one-on-one with that guy.
Ed Henry goes, does Femi do anything well? Not on the football field. I mean, I'm sure he does stuff well somewhere else.
I thought it was a rough game from Femi, too. And in the right place, but I just don't think he plays with the right – I don't want to say tenacity. I don't want to insinuate that he's not trying. I just don't think
he doesn't have the instincts.
I don't think he has the instincts, yeah. Like, he can get to the right spot, but it's like he doesn't want to, like, go from there. You know, it's almost like running a drill. Like, you go through the motions.
The Kyler Murray spy play was just maybe one of the worst football plays I've ever seen in a long time.
And he does this thing where he, like, lets off because he thinks he's going to get a holding call. And he tries to sell it like, oh, I'm being held. I'm going to flop.
Even young Jackson saw that.
Is that right?
Yeah. Remember he was in – well, you may be –
missing a testicle. He still saw it.
He still saw it.
Wow.
He saw that, and I think he's just – maybe his brain was catching up to stuff I've said for the last 4 weeks.
Probably.
About Femi, but, like, he even saw it. And I here's the thing. I know that he has traits.
Well –
but I have not seen the traits in my mind.
I would be curious. I don't have the raw data in front of me, and I know snap counts are something we can get pretty easily, but I feel like he's not playing as much.
I actually have those somewhere.
I felt like in this Arizona game, they were kind of quick to take him off the field.
They were. Who was I talking about that on Twitter?
They ran a lot with Jeff, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Shai Tuttle, with Draymond Jones and Jihad Ward as their outside guys.
So he was 67.6% in week 1, 76.3. I hope these were in the weeks. I don't know. It just says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope that is. 52.3 last week, 62. So this would be his second lowest week.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it's like they subbed him out in when they needed him to rush the passer. They subbed him out in clear run defense situations. Like, what are you going to do with this guy? What's he out there for then? It's like, I don't know. It's a bad spot to be in. I think he's just got a long ways to go.
Yeah,
and I hate to beat up on him.
It's a lot longer than what I think even the most optimistic of Femi supporters thought. And if this game is – here's the thing. Jihad Ward has to play more.
Yeah.
I can't believe that those are words in the 20 and coming out of my mouth in the year of our Lord 2025 that Jihad Ward has to play more.
He's their best edge rusher.
He is clearly, and he's clearly been their best edge rusher.
Yeah.
They awarded him with more snaps, but still under 50% because they're still trying to give a lot of leeway to Femi Oladejo, Draymond Jones, and Arden Key.
Mm-hmm.
But Jihad Ward needs to play more. The problem is that they also agreed that Jihad Ward needs to play more. So we know what that means. He's not going to play more because they're liars who can't follow through with anything that they say. They're essentially the coaching staff version of your dad going out for cigarettes. Because they're going to say they're going to be back, but he ain't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, at some point, you just have to say, Femi's development is not worth the pain he brings us on the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but that Kyler Murray touchdown run is on him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know for sure, but I think he was supposed to get out in the flat. And instead he jumps back where Cody Barton is. And Cody Barton kind of picks up his guy coming through, and they both start running in the same spot. And it's like, oh, you mixed that up. And then Kyler Murray gets to the flat and he's like, oh, what is this? Nobody's here. I'm just going to run it in for a touchdown.
Well, and also it's like how many people have, and I keep going back to say this, is that there are so many people that do not know what setting the edge truly looks like.
Yeah.
There is a time where he is out really wide in like almost a wide 9, formation. You were talking about the bear front earlier with the really set wide edge rushers. And he set so wide, way wider than he should be, that the 2 tight ends literally just go in straight into his direction. They go to him. He does not go to them. They go to him because that's where they want to go. They want to open up that lane to get the ball up there and to get a big big gain. Well, the problem is for them on that particular, for the Arizona Cardinals offense, is that, and let's go ahead and talk about him. Cedric Gray is playing out of his fucking mind. He said, "No, sir, not my watch. I don't care. I don't care what little puppy dog Femi Oladejo is doing over there, quote unquote, setting the edge, even though that he is getting basically pushed to where they want to go. He was already where they wanted him to be."
I mean, anytime you flip your shoulders and your hips to where you're perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, offensive tackle is going to take that all day because all he's got to do is get into you and drive.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about setting laterally to kind of get in front of you. When you do that, the offensive tackle is going to take that 10 out of 10 times, and he's just going to get into your chest.
Right? Like, I mean, it was just the 2 tight ends.
So the tight ends are doing it. So they're thinking, like, oh, man, this is great.
Femi is 20. So someone said Femi is 2025 Brooks Reed. No, someone said Ward is 2025 Brooks Reed, and someone else said Femi is 2025 Helen Keller.
Oh, man, that's so bad. That's so bad. But Cedric Gray, like really
playing out of his mind.
But he's triggering quickly.
Yep.
It's like that thing we talked about in diagnosis, like the firing of a synapse, getting to your gap, tackling. Like the whole thing just seems to flow. It really feels like the game is starting to slow down for him. And you hear like smart football people talk about gap math and all that, and how offenses can change it if they pull a tight end they pull a guard, or if they motion a tight end, or they shift a wide receiver in, like all that stuff. He and Cody Barton both, I'll give Barton his due as well. They are both seeing that movement really well and still getting into the right spot. Because you have to communicate where it's like, okay, they've changed it. Now all of a sudden there's a gap on this side that nobody's in. So you've got to like motion, shift, make sure everybody's in the right spot. And they're really like defending the run as a team right now, communicating. And Cedric Gray is picking up on that stuff. And he is just shooting these gaps and just.
With the more reps he gets, the better he's becoming.
It's awesome to watch, man. And 29 tackles.
Yeah,
the last
and to be
games.
honest, this all happened after Jarvis Brownlee Jr. got traded.
Wow, what's the theory there?
Well, I mean, same draft class.
Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was holding them back?
No, I'm saying that he's like, oh, I'm not getting traded to the Jets.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I see what's happening here.
Who would
Rams guys?
Who would win in a 1-on-1 in blocking? Calvin Ridley versus Femi Oladejo.
Oh my God,
that's for a Melvin
I'm
English.
riding with my wide receiver on that one, baby.
I'm gonna say Femi. If you picked Elikayu Manor, maybe we can have a discussion.
Maybe that's is from QC Hawk. Maybe that's why Chig and Helm can't actually block. They are practicing versus Femi.
Oh man, I mean, hey. Oh,
David Martin Robinson can't block either. He tried.
That's true.
He sliced across on a counter and tried to just throw his shoulder into somebody, and Tony got swallowed up last week.
I think I got the solve.
What?
Femi is your extra tight end. Let's move Femi to tight end.
Let's put him at fullback.
Let's do it. I mean, I'm all in. Let's get something out of our second round pick.
Yeah, I like that. Man, it would just be really awesome if they just didn't have to use these tight ends to block at all.
Yeah. It'd be really now. I'm kind of really interested to see what Femi does with the ball in his hands. Like,
Yeah, I
can
am
he
too.
catch?
I am too. I don't know.
Second round pick on a fullback.
Hey, be better. You probably get more out of that than what you're getting right now.
What does he have to do to get better, do you think? I mean, like
Like
how
I mean,
far
obviously
away?
we know that he has to get sacks and stuff, but like, what he has to learn how to play the position. I mean, he does not look like a guy that knows how to play
I
defense.
think that's the most damning thing is that he looks like he's so far from ready.
Yeah. I mean, that's been my issue all throughout camp and really ever since he got drafted. And this isn't just confirmation bias. I mean, like, I'm always willing to admit that, man, like Cody Barton on the offseason, I thought that he was just going to be another Jack Gibbons. At training camp, I was like, man, this guy's really good. During the games, he's good.
Hadn't been
Not
living
been
up to
what
the
we've
hype.
seen, but I mean, he's still been good. I mean, I
Yeah.
would say a step above Jack Gibbons. But like with Femi, it's just like he wasn't good. I mean, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon was winning reps against him.
fullback Brandon Crenshaw Dixon.
He wasn't looking good in these games. And I know everybody who really wants Femi to work out will tell you that he does look good in these games.
And what they're doing to me is just sending me stats on Mike Green, what
Yeah.
he's doing in Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Tennessee Titans did not draft Mike Green. They drafted Femi Oladejo.
Well, it's because we wanted Mike Green.
Right,
over-
but that doesn't really
so-
fucking matter to me. Is like, okay, so I say don't draft second round edge rushers. So what are you gonna have for me there?
Yeah.
Like, I look at it and I go, I just don't know when this is actually going to happen. Is this
Yeah.
right now? There was a little bit of hope that maybe in year 2 he puts it all together, and maybe that still happens. But this may be a year 3 guy. What was the Saxier score for Femi Oladejo? I think it was like they projected through the first 15, through the first 5 years, 13.5 or 12.5 sacks for 5 years total.
Yeah.
And what did I predict?
Brother, that's not good
No, it's definitely not good. Hold on.
for your second round edge rusher.
Let me see here.
I've always said when you have the opportunity to get the 17th best edge rusher in a draft class, you got to take him in the second round.
Okay, so the stuff that I saw said that over the first year or the first 5 years, he should get.
This is just riveting stuff.
9 sacks.
9 sacks.
So we're talking about 9 sacks over the first 5 years versus 12.5 sacks. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Well,
I'm not feeling good that that's going to be the case, but I'm feeling pretty good about those projections.
but at least he can drop and defend the hook.
I don't think we were that, like Joe Blacko says, remember how down we were on Cedric last season, give these rookies more time.
I was clamoring for more Cedric.
Yeah, Cedric was injuries issues.
Yeah.
The problem with Femi is that he's healthy.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, if he was unhealthy and he was injured, that would not only be a good thing for the Titans, but that would also play into what Joe Blacko is trying to say. 2 totally different situations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not, like, I understand that there are people that were down on Cedric Gray at linebacker through training camp, but Cedric Gray never got the chance to really prove anybody wrong because he got injured in training camp. This is a guy that stayed relatively healthy, has played down in 5 straight games, and hasn't looked the part.
Yeah. Where's James Williams? What are they doing with him? Just
Special teams.
Man, Rand's guys.
Rand's guys. Okay, I think that's good for that part. Do you have any other notes from the game that we haven't hit yet?
Let's see. I can go through these rapid fire. Maybe not. Good job of mixing up 11, 12, 13 jumbo.
That's true.
Lining up in 12 personnel with an extra offensive tackle and then taking the chunk shot to DK.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty crafty. Well done. More middle of the field concepts. I mentioned the screens. More routes breaking underneath. What else? The defense. Let's see. Gap math. Interior pressure. Jeff's first step is gnarly. He looks quicker than ever. Let's see. I think better job of containing the run and keeping wide receivers in front of them in coverage late in the game. Cedric Gray also shedding blockers to make tackles too. So it's not just triggering quickly, but he's actually dudes are getting their hands on him and he's breaking free and still making tackles as well. So yeah, I think that's all I got, unless you want to get into my Colts and Raiders notes.
No, but not yet. I do want to ask you this. Where are you at on this offensive line? And let me say this. There's a lot of people that tend to say the Houston game wasn't a bad performance by the offensive line, which I think is a really weird narrative not rooted in reality.
I feel like the offensive line's getting right.
You think but do you think, I mean, they allowed 18 pressures. I mean, Cam Ward didn't have any time behind that pocket. At least I'm talking about the Texans game. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know what everybody saw in this Texans game to kind of say, like, well, that's the game where they really started turning it around. It was their worst game of the season, in my opinion.
I felt like it was this game.
This is the best game.
I feel like Arizona was their best game. I feel like, yeah, Dan Moore made a few mistakes, but I really liked, he was pretty consistent. He's an athletic guy, pretty consistent getting out to meet the edge rusher in space, giving up ground, but I felt like as a whole, as a unit, they were all very much like, we might get pushed back here, but we're going to give Cam just enough time to get this ball off. And I think the exponential impact of that was that late in the game, they could start sending tight ends out into their routes sooner without having to chip and help as much as they were before. And we saw them making plays because of it. And we saw some more stuff like, oh, you've got the guys, you can send people over the middle now. So I think that is because the offensive line in pass protection really is where it feels like they're starting to find their footing for me.
How much of that is the Arizona Cardinals versus any other team?
I don't know. I'm curious because I think the Cardinals have kind of an underrated defensive front. I don't think they did. I don't understand. I talk about like the DNA of a team, the maturity of a team. This Cardinals team just cannot like get out of its own way. They did the same thing against Carolina, and they're fortunate to have won that game. But they take their foot off the gas, and then I don't know how big of a thing momentum is in this sense, but like if you take your foot off the gas, how hard is it to slam back down on it and get back up once you've done that? Because it feels like that's a couple of times this season, this Cardinals team has just let their foot off the gas, and they've played a lot easier and a lot more laid back, and they've allowed a team to climb back into it. But when they're healthy, I mean, they've got some dudes that can get after you, and they move them around. They're versatile pieces. They're hybrid guys. Zaven Collins, Darius Robinson, Baron Browning. They've got Dalvin Tomlinson in the middle. Dante Stills has played some decent football. Like there are some dudes there. And it felt like to me, they just kind of like took their foot off the gas and just let that game get away from them.
Because they were just rushing 3 or 4 pass rushers a lot. I mean,
which kind of goes to what I said about the Houston and Indianapolis games too, is like, well, they know this team wants to throw the ball, so they're not going to rush that many people, and they're just going to drop everybody into coverage and clog up the throwing lanes. So, I mean, that could have been part of it too, but I don't know. I felt like it was watching the one-on-ones, I thought Lloyd Cushenberry played pretty well. I thought Oli Udoh, all things considered, as a backup tackle, developing into that 6-man kind of position for him would be a positive development. I thought Dan Moore was like 80% good enough to win. Peter Skoronski's playing at an all-pro level, and Kevin Zeitler had a better game too. It was kind of like all of these guys watching the one-on-one matchups. I felt like, man, they're starting to kind of feel it a little bit.
So the hope is J.C. Latham is back this week. How does this offensive line how should it fare for this offensive line for you to be like, okay, they are on the right path? Because, I mean, obviously, again, the Raiders, if you are able to neutralize Max Crosby, easier said than done. But if you're able to neutralize Max Crosby, you should be fine the rest of the way. So you shouldn't be having these tons of pressures generate. Because, like, say what you want about the Houston Texans game. They only got 2 sacks. A lot of that is because Cam Ward was moved around and everything, but he was under pressure like crazy.
Yeah.
So if they're allowing, and he wasn't under a lot of pressure in Arizona. So if they're allowing a lot of pressure against the Raiders, that's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
But you should, as far as looking for hope for the future, if they play a pretty similar game to Arizona, you're feeling pretty good about where this offensive line's headed.
I want, against this defensive front, I want to see them impose their will. And part of that is a little more domination as a run blocking unit. Because I think they are making strides in pass pro. But I kind of want to see this, if we're going to take this next step, come together as a unit, start executing some of these run plays without having to add an extra offensive lineman. And let's go from there, because it's a matchup you should win. It's a matchup you absolutely should be able to do this on. And that is the next step for me. It's like, okay, you're getting your feet beneath you as a pass protecting unit. And I think people are seeing a lot of these the charts, the Ben Baldwin charts that are showing these offensive linemen in the, upper right quadrant with the best of the league. And I think people are just using that to say, oh, well, look how good they're doing, without the context of the tape study. But the thing that I want to see from that perspective is not like data, stats, pass protection. Just go out there and fucking mow somebody down.
Yeah.
Just fucking mow somebody down.
Oli Udoh did have a nice little...
He did. He did.
I can't remember who it was against, but he threw someone down like almost at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. So like let's get some more of that, and let's start to...
Because with J.C. Latham back, you should be trending. You should look better than what you saw in Arizona, but maybe not this game because it's the first game back. It's kind of how I view it.
Yeah, and you wonder about the chemistry. Like, are things clicking with this 5? And now, like, do you reset it, adding JC back to the mix? I don't know. I'm not saying that's a concern, but I just think, like, if we're going to start building an identity here, and if this is going to be a good offensive line, to me, like, that's the next step you got to take.
How do the Tennessee Titans beat the Raiders?
Show up. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, because what do you see the Colts have success with? Besides being a fucking well-built team right now.
I mean, they're
a wagon.
They are a super efficient offense. They can beat you in a number of different ways. Their protection was fantastic. And Daniel Jones is hitting precision throws. I mean, it really is clean execution. I don't feel like they were doing anything gimmicky or special or anything like that. They were just lining up and running their offense. Like I said, the linebackers are slow. Their secondary's banged up. They don't have their best guys back there. You can capitalize on that. You should be able to hit big plays. We mentioned play action. I mean, you're going to, like, one of these Raiders linebackers is going to tear an ACL trying to cut back and go the other way on one of these misdirection runs. And then their front, like, I know you said that they're good in, like, some of the efficiency metrics and run defense, but I feel like this is a game that the Titans should be able to run the ball in. So really the key on offense is double Max Crosby and nobody else can beat you, and then run your offense.
How many points would this Tennessee team have to score or have to win by for you to say they got a chance against Mike Vrabel and the Patriots?
Go out there, score 30, win by 2 possessions.
I like it.
And maybe that's like a 30-17 or something like that, which I do think they're capable of if the team we saw in the fourth quarter shows up. We haven't seen that consistently.
Right. So what do you, let's say that doesn't happen, but it's maybe a close win.
Yeah.
What do you need to see from Cam Ward in this offense? Say, okay, it was a close win, but at least you built upon what you did in the fourth quarter.
Just consistency. Like, do it for 4 quarters and get into a little bit of a rhythm and continue that complete game, because they were hitting everything. It felt like anything they wanted in that fourth quarter. So how do you get that magic back? You got the matchup. You've got the matchup to do it against this defense. And on offense, they just want to run Ashton Genty. Geno Smith is off. His placement's poor right now. The offensive line's hurt. They're getting pressure on the guy, and it's clearly rattling him. They want to run the ball with Genty. They don't have a whole lot of playmakers on the outside. The ones that they do have, it's like they don't want to use Jack Besh right now. They only want to use Trey Tucker as a gadgety guy. They really want to get, Jacoby Myers involved, and it's not working right now.
If they lose this game, just pack it up.
If they lose this game, it'll be back to the dumps.
Yeah, because you're basically just, you're not in the dumpster.
Yeah.
But you're still in the dump.
I
now
think,
you'd be thrown in the dumpster, locked, probably go into a trash compactor.
I think right now this Raiders team is probably the worst team
outside of maybe
football.
the Jets, or would you still probably lean Jets better?
I think I might take the Jets over the Raiders.
Okay, here's the discussion. This will be the last discussion of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Is Pete Carroll, the hiring of Pete Carroll, a cautionary tale for those that may want Mike McCarthy?
I mentioned this to you earlier. I think it's at least an interesting discussion topic, because the idea was, okay, well, if the Titans fire Brian Callahan, clean house, should they go get an experienced, more disciplinarian kind of coach, like a guy that has head coaching experience? And I was telling you, I was watching the Raiders earlier today, and I just thought, like, the Raiders did that with Pete Carroll. He's not a disciplinarian guy, but Pete Carroll's coached a lot of fucking football. And they go and get him. They bring in Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator. They've got all this experience. They've tried their best to retool this roster.
Maybe it's Chip Kelly.
Maybe it is. I don't know. But it hasn't worked out because they still can't get over how bad the state of that roster is. As we go back to the summer, we were talking about the Titans, the Raiders, and the Patriots competing for the worst roster in the NFL. And I think the Raiders are still there. And going to get a guy like Pete Carroll hasn't done shit for that organization. So is it a cautionary tale to say, don't just go get experience for the sake of experience?
Could be. It's an interesting conversation, because I don't know where I land on it, because I still think I'm a little worried, and here's why, about this game. They just got boat raced on the road.
Yeah.
They're 1-4. Pete Carroll, Tom Brady, for whatever his involvement is, John Spytek, like these guys that are kind of bred the right way.
Yeah.
They're not going to stand for that beatdown and not come back and look like a competent football team. Now, it may still result in them losing, but I think if we're expecting the bad Raiders teams that we've seen outside of the Patriots game, I think we're going to see more of the Patriots opener Raiders team than we are the multiple interceptions and stuff like that, because it goes back to the fact that, like, Kirby Smart, you kind of believe, and if this Georgia team's not as good as the last few Georgia teams that he's had, you kind of feel like Georgia going into Auburn, yeah, it's on the road. Auburn's been hella competitive, but who you choosing? Kirby Smart, or are you choosing Hugh Freeze?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here thinking, third road game on the road. We've seen that this team can't handle victories very well in the past. The coaching staff will cry, and then they'll say they got 2 up from this thing, from the victory. And you're going up against Pete Carroll, who just got boat raced. And you're having to do it for a third week in a row, go on the road. So who do you trust, Pete Carroll or Brian Callahan?
I think it's
I think it's going to be tough, closer than what people think.
and Brock Bowers is a wild card in all of this too, because if he plays, there's your fucking offense.
Well, then he's also missed his practice again today, so I don't think he's going to play. But you're right. It's just that I look at the coaching staff and I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to trust Pete Carroll a little bit more. Not saying that I'm going to not pick the Titans to win tomorrow and cover 2. But it may be closer than what the score should be, because I think Pete Carroll maybe elevates them and gets them up at the right time, even though they are a worse team.
I don't think they'll have a better opportunity this season to win 2 in a row.
Yes.
Obviously, it's easy to say that since they already have 1
Right.
in hand, but I think that would be a positive development for where this franchise is headed if they were able to win 2 in a row.
And win it decisively.
If they lose this game, though, which is on the table, absolutely. I don't mean for my confidence to come across as the Titans can't lose this game. They absolutely can. There is a timeline where they do get beat, but if that happens, I think it's going to be bad news.
Yep.
And I think it will kind of undo a lot of the good that happened in the fourth quarter against Arizona.
Just do the simple things. Keep it simple, stupid.
Do what works.
Do what works.
Do what works.
Just do it.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. This is Football and Other F Words. Stoney Keeley across from me. I'm Zach Lyons. Ross behind the glass. Mojo Rojo.
Mojo Rojo.
Football and Other F Words. And you have just been effed.